Hi everyone, my name is Nilo, and I will be teaching you guys operators in C. So in math, we have numerous operators such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And if you combine all of those operators into a complex equation, there is an order of operation known as PEMDAS that we have to follow in order for us to get the accurate or correct result. So PEMDAS means parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And because of that, we should know how to solve like these kinds of equations here in the screen, because at the end of the day, there will always be a lot of different train of thoughts. There are some people here that would say that the answer is one if you multiply after you did the after you add inside the parentheses. So if you say 1 plus 2, that's 3. And then if you multiply it by 2, then it will be 6. And then 6 divided by 6, that's 1. Or uh, if you're going to solve it in a way that you did division before you multiply. So if you do 1 plus 2, that's 3. And then 6 divided by 2, that's 3. 3 times 3, that's 9. So the order of operations is really important in order for us to evaluate complex equations. And technically speaking, from this problem here, the answer is 9, because since division and multiplication are both the same precedence, you should solve them from left to right. So in C, it's basically the same. So you're going to ask me, what are the symbols or what are the operators out there uh, that is applicable in the C language? So here we go. Here's the hierarchy from the most important to the least. So first you have your PEMDAS here without the exponents. So you have your parentheses, followed by the multiplication, division, and then modulo. Then you have the addition and then subtraction. Then you have your relational operators here, which is the greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And then after that, you have your is equal or non-equal sign. And then you have the and symbol here and then the or symbol here. And please note that if there is a same level of precedence, it's always going to be solved from left to right. So for instance, if you're going to have a series of operators that involve multiplication, division, and modulo, no matter what, you'll always have to solve it from left to right. That's the precedence. And then we're going to be solving some series of examples that I prepared. So here, let me just get my pencil. So we all know that we have to solve what's in the parentheses first. So 4 modulo 2, that's 0. And then since there is no more parentheses to solve, we now go to the next level. So multiplication, division, and modulo. Since there is a multiplication here, so that's 3 times 0, that is equal to 0. And then since there is no more multiplication, division, or modulo, we go down to the next level, that which is addition or subtraction. So 10 plus 0, that will be 10. And is that the correct answer? The answer is yes. The answer is 10. So next question here. This is a series of and then or. So normally you would see this one when it comes to logic gates, or whenever you have like a series of conditions that involve the and or statements. So if we were to evaluate this, so let's try to check it out. So we always know that the parenthesis always goes first. The most inner parenthesis will have to be solved first before the rest of the parentheses in the outer. So what is 1 and 1? 1 and 1 is always 1. It's like saying 1 is true and then 0 is false. So since both are true, so true and true, the answer is true. So that's equivalent to 1. And then, since there's nothing to solve anymore within the parenthesis, we now go to the outer parenthesis. So now is there an and statement within this parenthesis? No. So we go to the lowest precedence, which is or. So 0 or 1, the answer is 1. True or no, false or true is always true. As long as there is a statement that is true and you're comparing it with a or statement, the result will always be true. So let me just put that here. 1. Okay. Now we have no more parentheses, and now we know that it's a series of and or statements. So we know that or and goes first before or. So if we were to solve, we'll have to solve this one first, the 1 and 0, before we do the or statements. You can't do 1 or 1 first before the whatever the result of this one is to this. It's always the and first. So let's check it out. So 1 and 0, true and false. The answer is false. So that's a 0. Now there is no more and statements. We can now go to the or. And we solve the or statements from left to right. So 1 or 0, that is 1. Then 1 or 1, that is equivalent or rather equal to 1. So is the answer 1? And the answer is 1. And then for the last example here, so we have a series of uh operators here. So let's check it out. So what we got here is we have a modulo, we have a parenthesis, we have a multiplication, an addition, and then we have some division. So we still have to follow the order of precedence when it comes to C. So first is the parenthesis. So what's in the parenthesis? All we got here is a multiplication. So we answer the multiplication first. What is 2 times 2? 2 times 2 is 4. All right. So since there is no more problems that involve parentheses, we go now to the next level of precedence, which is multiplication, division, and modulo. So since those three have the same level of precedence, we have to evaluate them from left to right. So since the first thing we see here is the modulo, 5 modulo 4 is equal to 1. Why is it equal to 1? Because we know that if we do 5 divided by 4, that's 1. And then this is the remainder, so 1 remainder 1. So this remainder here is the answer to the modulo. So the next one is we have a division. We cannot evaluate first the addition since it's not the priority right now. So we go for the division. So 9 divided by 3, that is 3. Since there is no more operators that involve multiplication, division, or modulo, we now go to the next level of precedence, which is addition or subtraction. So we're gonna check, is there an addition or subtraction here? Yes, we do. We have an addition symbol here or the addition operator here. So we have to solve for the equation. So 1 plus 3, obviously that is 4. And did we get the answer right? Yes, we do. We have the answer, and that is 4. Now we're going to go for the coding examples. Okay. So I have prepared five uh files here that involve with some operators. So in this case here, I made a program wherein you have an online revenue, a car revenue, and then you have a gold revenue. So you just have to input how much is your revenue from your online business and car business. And then you just have to input what is your goal for how much revenue are you trying to aim for that month. So we have a operator equation here wherein that involves uh, addition and a relational symbol. So we know that in the operator precedence, the order of operations rather, you have the parentheses, you have the multiplication, division, and modulo, addition and subtraction, and then you have the relational, and then you have the equality, and then you have the and statement, and then the or statements. So since we have the relational and the addition will go first before you compare the relational. So for instance, let's before we try to run the program, let's uh, try to trace out the program. So let's say that you have gained 1,000 pesos from your online business. That's too little, but we're just having an example here. And then your car business, you have, let's say, 1,000 as well, 1,000 pesos. You want to achieve 2,500. So when you plug in the values here, what happens is that since the additional goes first, since that is the most important one, so 1,000 plus 1,000, that's equal to 2,000. And then once you have the value for these two, which is 2,000, it's now going to compare with the gold revenue. Since your gold revenue's value is 2,500, you're going to be solving, is 2,000 greater than or equal to 2,500? Since the answer is no, it will not run this statement here. Oh, by the way, I'm also assuming that you have understood uh conditional statements. If you don't, you can always check out the conditional statements video that is already available in the LaSalle Computer Society YouTube channel. So the since this statement here is not true, now we're gonna go to the else statement, which will print out, unfortunately, you did not achieve your goal this month. So let's try to run this. Um, here. So click on this. So how much is the revenue from your online business? Let's say 1,000. And then how much is your revenue from your car business? So that's 1,000 again. And then my goal is 2,500. So obviously we know the answers, that we didn't reach our revenue goal this month. So the result will say, unfortunately, you didn't achieve your goal this month. But if I were to say, let's say I did 1,000 and then another 1,000, but instead of the goal 2,500, let's say it's 2,000 only. It will now say, congratulations, you achieved your goal this month. So this is one of the examples where you apply the operators through the use of the C language. But it's not limited to conditional statements. Sometimes you'll have to fix or you'll have to uh convert an equation or a formula into C. So what an example would be is the conversion of degrees or temperature from Celsius, Fahrenheit, and so on. But in this case, I chose to convert Celsius into Fahrenheit. So as you can see here, the formula in order for you to get the Fahrenheit in order for you to get Fahrenheit from Celsius, you'll have to multiply it by 9, then divided it by 5, and then you have to plus it by 32. So since in this equation, what we did is we put it in a parenthesis here, and then we added by 32. So what happens here in order of operations? So anything within the parentheses will go first, and then afterwards, since this is the only parenthesis we have, we go down to the next level of precedence, which is multiplication, division, and modulo. Since we have multiplication and division, since they're both the same level of precedence, we solve them from left to right. So let's say we have we have 30 degrees Celsius. So that is 30 here. So 30 times 9, that is 270. And then now we're going to divide it by 5. So what is 270 divided by 5? That is 5. 25, so that's 20. 54. And then 54 plus 32, that is 86. So let's check it out. So if I were to clear all the drawings, and then we run this program. So let's say 30 degrees. So in Fahrenheit, that is 86, which is same. So that we can always try other inputs here. So let's say 90 degrees. That's very hot. So that in Fahrenheit, that is 194. But if you can also do in decimal as well, since the data type here is in double. So let's say 24.9. So it will give you the answer of 76.82. Okay, so for the next example here, what I did is we have a logic gate equation here. So we have a series of and or. So what in this problem here, you have to input the value of A, B, C, D in ones or zeros, and then the answer will be, since you have already a provided equation here, it will be stored into the variable named answer, and then it will just print out the answer. So let's say A is 1, B is 1, C is 1, D is 1. So how do we solve for the answer here? So we have to do the parentheses first. So within the parentheses, the only thing we have here is the or statement. So A and B, A or B. So 1 or 1, that is 1. Okay. And then since there's nothing to solve anymore in the parentheses, we go to the next level of precedence, which is the and. So 1 and 1, that is 1. And then we have no more and statements, so we go down to the lowest precedence, which is or. So 1 or 1, the answer will be 1. So let's try to find it out. So let's clear all my drawings, and then we run this program here. So A is 1, B is 1, C is 1, and D is 1. So the answer is 1. And if we also compare, so let's say A is 1, B is 0, C is 0, and D is 0, the answer will be 0. Why? So A is 1, B is 0. So 1 or 0 is 1. And then C is 0. So we're going to evaluate the AND statement here, right? So 1 and 0, the answer is 0. And then since D is 0, so 0 or 0, the answer is 0. That's why the answer that is printed out is 0. Okay, so we go to the next problem here. So here now you have a very complex equation here that involves a lot of symbols. We try to run this, the answer will be provided you is 1. So let's try to break it down why. So let's check here. Do you have any parentheses? We do. Since there are 3 series of parentheses, we have to solve them from left to right. So let's start with the leftmost parenthesis here. What is 9 divided by 3? 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then 6 modulo 2 is 0. And then is 9 greater than 8? That is 1. That is true. So the answer that will print out is 1. Because when you do relational or equality signs, and statements or statements, usually the answer is always be given in true or false. And in C, true is always denoted as 1, and false is always denoted as 0. So just keep that in mind. And then now we don't have any more parentheses, so we now go to the next level of precedence, which is division, multiplication, and modulo. So as you can see here, we have a series of those kinds of symbols. So we have to solve them from left to right. So what is 2? The 2 multiplied by 3, that is 6. Then 6 modulo 2, that is 0. And then what else? 3 divided by 2, that is 1. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Now we go to the next, which is addition and subtraction. So that's 1 plus 0. Yeah, 1 plus 0, that is 1. So I'm just gonna do this. Yeah, I'm gonna do that and then point it here. There you go. Then 1. Okay, not yet. 0 plus 1, that is 1. And then 7 minus 5, that is 2. Then 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, now we're going to solve for the and statement. So let's try to put that here so that we have 1 and just 1, and then or, which is 3. Do note, just in case you have a value that is not 1 or 0, anything that is a number, like 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on and so forth, is technically 1, since it has a value. So just remember that, just in case you have these kinds of problems here. And C will render it as true nonetheless. So since we have order precedence, which is and first before or, so 1 and 1, that is 1. And then 1 or 3, the answer is 1. That's true. That's why in the problem here, the answer is 1. Okay. And then for the last problem here, we have a series of comparison. So if we run this program, it will give you 1. Now we're going to solve y. So let's try to break down the problem. Okay. So we know that the precedence is always parentheses, multiplication, division, and modulo, addition, subtraction, relational, equality, and statements or statements. So here we have a parenthesis. We have a series of parentheses here. But we have to solve first the innermost parenthesis. So let's check. Is 8 less than or equal to 4? No. So that is 0. Then uh we have two relational symbols here. So we solve them from left to right. So is 7 greater than or equal to 9? The answer is false. So this one will give 0. And is 0 greater than 0? Obviously not. So the answer is 0. Okay, now we solve for this one. Is 10 equal to 10? Of course. So the answer is 1. And then here, is 2 equal to 0? No. So the answer is false. It gives a value of 0. And is 4 not equal to 0. So since 4 is not equal to 0, that is true. So the answer will now be 1. Okay. So let's try to simplify this further. So that is 9 greater than 3, less than 0, and 0 or 1 and 1. Okay. Since we still have relational symbols here, we have to solve them first before we do the and or statements. So since the relational symbols here are in equal precedence, we have to solve them from left to right. So is 9 greater than 3? That is 1. That is true. And then, oops, zero, wait, yep. And then 0, 1, and 1. So is 1 less than 0? The answer is false, so that is a 0. So we just have to put and 0. Oops. Okay. So we have two and statements and then one or statement. So we have to solve them from left to right first, the and statements. So it's 0, 0 and 0, that is 0. So it's like saying false and false. And then true and true, so that is true, so that is 1. Is And then we solve now for the last precedence, which is the or. So 0 or 1, that is 1. It's like saying false false or true, so that'll be true. So it gives you the answer of 1. So let's try to double check first. So let's clear all the drawings and then we run this program. The answer here is 1. And that's basically it for the operators in C. I do hope that you understand uh, the brief concept regarding this. If you do have any questions, please feel free to consult with LSCS or PTS regarding this matter. Thank you.